Hi everyone, welcome to Tutorialspoint. We shall learn what Java is all about, but before that let us learn what a programming language is and how we work on it. So, the first slide says that a program is nothing but a set of instructions that needs to be executed by a computer or a processor. So what a computer understands is a machine language, but what we understand is a human language, and human language may be of English format which consists of words or phrases. So this language that we write in is a high level language which is also called as a source code. But when a computer executes these instructions that are written in English must be of a format of 0 or 1s, which is nothing but a binary format called as machine code. So who converts this? There must be some tool or a software or a program which consists of a set of instructions to convert this source code into a machine code. First of all, it's us the programmers who write this programming language, and there are certain programming language like C, C++, Python, etc. So let us see how can you convert this source code into a machine code. The source code can be converted into a machine code with the help of certain tools. Those are interpreter, compiler. So what does this interpreter does is, interpreter helps us in interpreting one statement at a time, because this executes one statement at a time. If there are any error, it will throw at the same time. It means it prompts with the error at the same time, and because it executes one statement at a time, the analyze time becomes very fast, but the overall execution becomes slow. Then what does the compiler does? Compiler also executes the entire program, but how it is different from an interpreter? A compiler first scans the entire program and then execute the program. Here the analyze becomes very slow because it executes the entire program, but the overall execution becomes faster. In case of compiler, the debugging is harder because the error is thrown only after it scans and executes the program, whereas in interpreter the debugging is easy because the error is prompted as it receives an error. But what does a Java does here? A Java is both an interpreted and a compiled language. The Java C compiler first converts the source code into a bytecode, and then this bytecode is nothing but interpreted by whom? So a Java program interprets this bytecode line by line so that the virtual machine understands this. What is a virtual machine? This is a Java virtual machine which we name it as a JVM, and this JVM provides us a runtime environment to execute our programs. So in this video, we have learned what a program looks like, or how you execute a program, what a language does a computer understand, how or who or what kind of a program or a tool helps us in converting a source code into a machine code. And now in the going forward videos, we'll learn more about Java. Let us learn what Java is and how it works. Java is a programming language that was developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems in the year 1995. Java provides a certain environment to run the programming languages. These are JSE, JEE and JME. But with the latest release, it has changed its naming conventions to Java SE, Java EE and Java ME, where Java SE stands for Java Standard Edition. What does this Java Standard Edition do? This is the most widely used for developing our programs. It also helps us to deploy portable applications, and it consists of a virtual machine which is nothing but a VM which allows us to execute our Java program. The next one is Java EE. What does this Java EE does? A Java EE stands for Java Enterprise Edition, which is built over Java SE. It helps us, or it provides us an application or a runtime environment to execute a large scale applications such as multi-tier or which are scalable or reliable applications. The last one is Java ME, where Java ME stands for Java Micro Edition, and this is used to deploy or create or build up an embedded applications. And the summary of this particular video would be where we have understood who has developed this Java, in which year it started, and what are the kind of environment which is available to execute our program. Let us learn what are the Java features. The first one is object oriented. Any Java language, when you talk about, you need to understand what an object oriented means. In Java, anything and everything is about object. Every object has certain data and behavior associated with it. So, a Java is nothing but it provides you a software where all the objects incorporate or communicate with each other through these data and behavior. As we said, in Java, we need to first learn what an object is, right? So, in the world given, anything that you consider is an object. A world can be considered as an object, an animal can be considered as an object, a human can be considered as an object, anything that you take. Let us take as a human. What does a human does, right? So, what are the data or what are the behavior of a human? A human has certain complexion, a human has certain name or age. These are nothing but the data about a human. And what are the behavior? A human is sleeping, talking, walking, etc. The next feature is Java is platform independent. When we say platform independent, what do you understand by it? First of all, what is a platform? A platform may be a software or a hardware based, where Java is a software based platform, where we convert our source code into a bytecode, and this bytecode can be run in any of the platforms. So, a bytecode can be run in multiple platforms, therefore it becomes platform independent. Next it says Java is simple and secure. First of all, let us take what do you mean by simple? Why simple? Why Java is simple? In Java, the syntax that we write in Java is similar to C++. So, the Java language which is written in C++ should also hold certain features of C++, but the complex features of C++ were removed in Java. Some of the examples are pointers, then operator overloading, etc. Another one advantage which makes Java as a simple language is because the unreferenced objects are automatically removed by the garbage collector. You do not have to explicitly remove. And why Java is secure? There are certain features which make Java secure. Example, the bytecode, what it does is that it searches if there is any illegal code which violates the access to the object, and it also executes the Java program in its virtual machine. There are another things like a class loader. What it does is that it provides advanced security by separating the package for the local class file and that you import from the network. There are certain other advantages like security manager. What it does is that it provides a restriction on the class what all resources that you can read or write. The next feature is architectural neutral. Why do you say it is an architectural neutral? Because there is no implementation dependency. What do you understand by this? Let us consider an example of an int type. In C++, the int type, it consists of 2 bytes for 32-bit architecture, 4 bytes for 64-bit architecture. Whereas in case of Java, there is no such kind of an implementation dependency. What it does is that it occupies 4 bytes for both 32 and 64-bit architecture. The rest features are Java is portable. What do you mean by portable? Because Java has a bytecode which can be carried to any other platforms, it becomes portable. Java is also strong. That is nothing but Java is robust. What are the features that make Java robust? These are like you have exception handling, you have garbage collector, you have the concept of pointer which was difficult has been removed. So, certain these features make Java strong. The rest features are multi-threaded. In Java, it is possible or Java allows you to run n number of tasks at one given time. The main advantage of using the concept of multi-threading is that you can run n number of tasks or n number of threads at one time by sharing one memory. You do not need separate memory for each of the threads. The rest are interpreted and high performance. Why do you think using Java is of high performance? The other traditional interpretation are more higher or takes much more time than Java. Why? Because Java bytecode is near to the native code. The next one is distributed and dynamic. What makes Java distributed? So Java, first of all, it allows you to build distributed applications. Distributed applications is nothing but where you can access the resources over the network. And how is it possible? You have certain called remote method invocation and enterprise Java beans, which allows you to develop or create these distributed applications. And the last one is dynamic. How can you say a Java is dynamic? Why? Because where you have the source code, this source code which is built in one system can be executed in any of the platform, because the .class file is generated at the runtime. So anything or any application that generates a class file at the runtime are dynamic. So in this slide or in this video, we have learned what a Java is all about. Why do we need Java? What are the advantages of Java? The main concern that you need to remember, a Java has a garbage collector which removes the unreferenced objects automatically, and the difficult concepts are removed by itself. Let us learn about Java history, why and where and how it was initiated. Java was developed by James Gosling and his green team in the year 1991. It was named as Oak, O-A-K, and why it was named as Oak is that an oak tree stood outside the Gosling office, and later on the naming convention has changed. From Oak it was named as Green, then Java Coffee, and finally Java. Mainly Java was initiated for interactive television, but it was too advanced at that time for the digital cable television. What happened later is Gosling promised Vora in the year 1995. What is this Vora? Vora is nothing but where you write once and run anywhere. In our previous videos, we have learned certain features of Java, where one of the feature promised that you can create the code at one platform and run this code in any other platform. And this language was similar syntax as C or C++, so that the programmers find it easy to learn and then build the application. Later in the year 2006, this Sun Microsystem has come out, making the software freely available over the network under general public license. And then finally this process or the complete act finished in the year 2007. And today we have the latest version as SE8, and later they are also planning for SE9. So in this summary, you will understand that how a Java has initiated, what made its origin, and what kind of a version that you are using today. By now you know what a Java is. Java is a programming language. So how you can run and what are the environment setups that you need to do in order to run a Java program. So here it says what are the properties or what are the specifications that you need to run a Java program. The certain hardware that you need, there are certain software also you need. The hardware, it says that you need a machine which holds a memory of minimum 64 MB of RAM. Then it says the operating system that you need, maybe a Linux or a Windows operating system 7, 8 or anything that is readily available for you. Then you need an editor, text editor, where you can actually write your source code, which is your Java program, which needs to be then compiled. So this code that you write is a human based language, so you need an editor. That may be a notepad, or you have certain tools available like Eclipse or any other text editor. We also have a coding ground available which will help you, where you can just go write on the program and execute. Finally, you need JDK 8. JDK 8 is nothing but the latest version where you are going to run your program on Java Standard Edition 8. It says that in order to download the JDK 8, where is it available? We need to first understand that. As Java has become very freely available over the network, you just need to go click on this download in order to download the JDK 8 file into your system. Once you complete the download, you need to modify or make certain alteration or make the changes in the computer properties. One of the property is called path, where you go and add the JDK path so that you can run your Java program in one of the editors. The first, it says that how can you run a program on a notepad. So you just need to open a notepad, go write your program and execute. In order to do, what are the certain steps and what are the computer properties that you need to set up. The next one is Eclipse. Eclipse is nothing but a readily available tool which allows you to write your Java program, run and compile it. So instead of opening a text editor and then going to command prompt, running the code Java, C and all, you can directly just go write the code and execute your program in case of Eclipse. The next one is a coding ground which is readily available for you in the Tutorialspoint. If you think it's difficult for you to run the program in a notepad or you're finding some difficulty in downloading Eclipse, we also provide you one coding ground at our Tutorialspoint site where you just need to go write down the Java program and execute. So for now you understand that we can run in Java program in various other text editors. So the one that we will be seeing is a notepad, Eclipse using a tool or a coding ground. So we will now going forward, we'll see in our practicals how can you run a sample program using any of them.
So let us now see how you can install a Java, that is your JDK file. So in order to do that, we need to click on the download that is available in your PPT. Once you click that, it will come to this particular website of your Oracle where you have this JDK 8, which is the latest version, available for free. You need to accept this license agreement and then click onto the version and as per your operating system. And this will ask where do you want to save. I am trying to save it in the D drive. This will install your exe file, and once you run your exe file, it will install your JDK. So now we need to run this exe file. You need to accept the terms and all just by clicking next, and this will complete installing your JDK file, which is of version 8. So once you are able to successfully install your JDK 8 version, you now need to go and change the My Properties of Computer, that is your My Computer path. Why would you change this path? Normally this JDK is a software development environment which helps us in developing the Java application and applets, and these environment, it includes your Java runtime environment. It provides an interpreter, that is Java, compiler, Java C, jar files and certain other example and documentation. And to run the Java console based program in Windows, we need Java and Java C, whereas these two commands are not understood by Windows, so we need to define them explicitly. So let us see how we can define them explicitly. For this, we need to set the path which needs to be specified about the bin folder. So we need to go to My Computer. You click onto the Properties, Advanced System Properties. Under Advanced tab, Environment Variables, and then you can change the path here or here. So if you change here, it will change for a particular user, and if you want to change path for everyone, you need to come and search here. So we select path, edit. Now at the end, you need to add your JDK file which is stored in your bin folder. So where is that? You need to go back, C drive, program files, Java, JDK 1.8.0, bin folder where your Java C resides. Copy this link and you need to paste it here. Followed with a semicolon. OK. And then you save the class path that you have saved. So this is how you install a Java, that is your JDK file, run exe file and change the properties of your class path. We have already seen how we can download the JDK file. In order to use Eclipse, the first step is to install JDK that we have seen in our previous video, that is Java SE 8 version. You can download the version that you want. We have installed the latest version. The second step would be to install Eclipse. For that, we need to come to this particular site, www.eclipse.org/download/. Click on download 64-bit. Again, we need to click on this download button. And this starts installing the exe file. You can save and run this file, or you can directly run the file. It shall prompt you with a box where it will ask you for what do you want to install Eclipse. Do you want to install for the Java developers? Do you want to install for your PHP programming, and so on. So you need to select for what particular purpose are you trying to install Eclipse. For now, we will be installing Java developer because we are trying to run our Java programs. We shall wait for this file to load. And then select the first option which says Eclipse IDE for Java developers. Click on install. This information is just for your information, like where is this file being installed, where is this file being downloaded. So we shall wait for this installation to complete. On installation, you will just need to click on next options to understand and to save in which directory will your Eclipse be installed. So once it is successfully installed, we need to launch. We clicked on launch button. And then which directory you would want to store. We are selecting the default one where it appears. If you want, you can make the changes to your directory. You can give any folder that you would want to. And then click on OK button. So once you have successfully installed and then launched your Eclipse, this is how your tool looks like. You can go view any documents or tutorials that you would want. How do you create your new project? You would directly select from here or go to your file button, click on it, click on tab, which will show you whether you would want to create your Java project or what kind of a classes, packages that you would want to create. So this is how you install your Eclipse, and now you can start your Java programming here. So this is where your Tutorialspoint coding ground is available, where you can come and execute your Java file. So this is www.tutorialspoint.com, and this is where you come. So once you click onto the link provided, you can see this coding ground available where you can write your Java files. So we have created here one class hello world in order to print this file. And how would you execute is by providing the statements here as Java C to compile and then Java to run this particular file.
By now you know what a Java program is. Java program is nothing but collection of objects that incorporate or communicate with each other through its data and behavior, which are nothing but variables and methods. So in order to write a Java program, we need to first understand the basic syntax. How do you write? What are the naming conventions? What does a space understands, or how do you write comments and all? So here we see that a Java is a case sensitive language. When you say case sensitive, it means whether the word or the name that you have given is in uppercase or a lowercase. The first property, it says that a Java class name should begin with an uppercase letter and then followed with a lowercase. But if the class name comprises of several words, then each of the inner word first letter should start with an uppercase. The next one is method name. What is this method? What is this class? In Java, as we have already discussed, anything and everything is object. So we can take an example of a human. A human can be considered as an object. So human can be written as a class name where H is a capital and then followed with UMAN. And how will you write a method for this? What is the method for this human class? The certain behavior for every object. And in case of human example, the behavior of human may be walking, sleeping, eating and so on. So each of these behaviors are nothing but method. And how do we write that is the first letter should be in a lowercase and then followed the rest of the letters should also be in lowercase. But if the method name comprises of several words, then each of the inner word should be of uppercase but remaining the first word should be of lowercase. For an example, sleeping human. In case of sleeping human, S should be in a lowercase, and when you write sleeping human, the second word is human where H should be capital. The certain other properties which says what should be the program name. What do you mean by program name here? A program name is nothing but your class file name. When you create a Java program, you give a name or an readable or some sensible name to that program, and that program name should be exactly what a class name is all about. But what are these variables? What are these methods or the classes that you create? So the name that you give or the name that you give to all your classes, methods, variables, packages, these are nothing but identifiers. So these are the identifiers that you create and should satisfy one of the criteria. What are these criteria? That the naming convention should be from uppercase or a lowercase A to Z, or should start from an underscore or a currency character called a dollar. So you have certain examples for valid or illegal identifiers. What are legal identifiers? That starts with a character or an underscore or a dollar sign. Anything apart from that, like if you are starting with a digit or a minus sign as given here, will be an illegal identifier. There are certain words that you cannot use to or that you cannot use as an identifier. And what are those? Those are called as keywords. These keywords are nothing but which has certain predefined meaning in our programming languages. Let us list some of these keywords. These are the list of keywords which has a predefined meaning in Java, and you cannot change the meaning of these keywords. For an example, if you want to store an age of a person or a name of a human, you should have certain data type, and data type is nothing but which allows you to store that particular value, and age is nothing but a number, so this number will be stored an int type. A name is nothing but of a string, right? String is nothing but a collection of character, so it is a string. Or when you create a class, you write a class name. How? Class and then the class name. Class is a keyword. So all these keywords will be used, or we will see in our going forward videos where we create our practicals. Next it says, what are these white spaces? As we have already learned, there are certain spaces when we write in a language. What we write is an English language. For sure, there will be some spaces between the words and phrases. So what does this white space does? What are the characters which says are white space? So a character, to be a white space character, should satisfy one of the condition. Either it should be a line separator, or it should be a paragraph separator, or it need to be some space. Okay, then these are the few example of white spaces. Here we have given int and then age. Because an age is a number type, it is stored in int. There is some space between int and age, and this space is ignored by the compiler. The next example, it says fruits equal to apples plus oranges. There is a plus sign, and preceding or forwarding there is a space between this oranges, right? So this space is completely ignored by white space. The next one is comments. What are comments? Mainly we write it in our program for our better understanding. Comments are nothing but better explanatory or information of a program. Why is this program, what a program does, or what is the background that is running behind the program. We can give any explanation why we have created these variables or what a method does. In our cases, like we have created an example called human, and human has certain age, certain complex, certain behaviors. why are we using, what is the purpose of this program, we can explain those with the help of comments, and these comments are again ignored by the compiler. You can write these comments in a single line, or you can as well as write in a multi-line comments. How do you write simple line comments is that by providing 2 forward slashes, and multi-line by providing a forward slash following with an asterisk. Remember, in case of multi-line, once you open a forward slash and asterisk, you need to also close with an asterisk and a forward slash. We have here a program which explains you how can you provide a comment or how a compiler ignores the comment. So in this program, we have created a class where we have provided certain multi-line comments and single line comment. As discussed, how do you write multi-line comment? You provide a forward slash following with an asterisk and then the comment that you would want to provide. Once you click enter, the asterisk would be followed by itself. So once you end or once you complete writing your comments, please close with your asterisk and then followed with a forward slash. How you write a single line comment is that you provide 2 forward slash and following the comment that you would want to provide. So let us now see practically how can you write these comments and how it works.
This program helps us in understanding how do you write multi-line comments and single line comment. Comments are generally used to explain what the program is all about. It is a good practice to write comments when you write down a program so that if a programmer comes back and revise, should be able to understand with the help of comment what the program is all about. Let us see how do you write multi-line comment. You write multi-line comment with the help of a forward slash following an asterisk and the text that you would want to write. It is important to remember that once you complete writing the entire text that you would want to display, you need to also close the multi-line. So this 3 text lines helps us to understand what the program is all about. It says, this is my first Java program. This will print hello world as the output, and this is an example of multi-line comments. So it becomes easier for programmer to understand what the program is all about. The multi-line comment, which is written with the help of forward slash and then the asterisk, can also be used to write a single line comment. But it is a good practice to use 2 forward slash following the text to write a single line comment.
You have already learned the naming conventions of Java. Now let us see how can you write a Java program in practical. So here we have created our Java program with a class name called welcome. But what each of these statements does, we need to first learn that. The first statement says that import java.util.* and then the semicolon. Remember one key point that any statement that you would want your program to execute should end with a semicolon. And here import is nothing but which allows you to import any other package into your program. And what are these packages? Packages are nothing but a collection of framework or classes that helps you to run your Java program. And what each of these package does, we will see in the going forward videos. But for now, we have provided one package which is java.util.*, and this asterisk stands for that any classes, interfaces, anything that is available in this class will be included. Then we have provided public class welcome, where here public is nothing but an access specifier. And what this particular access specifier does is that it allows a programmer to restrict or limit the availability of this particular class outside a package or not. Here in case of public, it allows this particular class members to be accessed by any other class outside the package. There are certain other access modifiers. What each of them does will be seeing in the going forward videos. The next we provide a keyword. If you remember, we have already discussed a keyword is nothing but which has a predefined meaning. So here to create a class, we provide the keyword called class and then followed with a class name. Here the class name is welcome, where the first letter stands of uppercase, right? So W is of uppercase. If you provide a small case, it will throw you an error. So once you provide the class name, then you provide a curly braces. If you open a curly braces, you should also close the curly braces. So any statement that you would want to be executed needs to be written under the class. The next important point that you need to remember is a method. Like as an example of a human, every human has certain behaviors, right? And these behavior may be sleeping, running and all. To execute all these behaviors, Java says that there should be a main method from where the Java program execution starts. So we have a method called public static void main in the bracket string args. What each of them does is, public we have already discussed, it's an access specifier. Then you have static. Static says that in this case, in this main method, you do not have to create an instance or an object of the class. An instance you may just consider as a copy of the class for now, and what is static stands for we'll see in future. Then you have called void and main. Void is a keyword here which says that it does not have any return value. That is, this method will not return any kind of a value. When I say value, a value may be anything. It may be an integer, it may be a string, it may be anything. So it says void keyword is something which says you will not return any value. Next is the method name. If you see the method name, the first case is lowercase. So M is in lowercase. If you provide in uppercase, the interpreter will not interpret this method. And again repeating, any execution of the Java program will first start with the main method. Then in the brackets you provide string, brackets and args. What does this stand? It's nothing but an array of arguments. An array of arguments because we do not know the size of the value that we will receive. The size is unambiguous, so we use an array to determine the value. Here is nothing but we use a heap which will store the value in an object reference which may be of a compiled value of a string format. So any statements that you would want to execute, you will have to provide under this. So what happens in this case is that the Java interpreter interprets the main method and then the compiler will execute with this void. The compiler says whether we return any particular value or not. What happens when you provide a main method, or what happens when you do not provide? Will the Java program execute? Yes, the Java program will certainly execute even if you do not provide the main method. The compiler will compile the program, but the interpreter will not interpret until unless you find the main method. And in our previous example, we have seen how do you provide certain comments. But our main purpose here is to print a simple message called as welcome to Tutorialspoint. How do you print a normal message? With that, let us see, we have written system.out.println, and in the bracket, in the inverted commas, you need to provide the output that you would want to see, and then you close the statement with a semicolon. Again repeating, any statement that you want your program to be executed, you need to provide a semicolon, otherwise it will throw you an error. And what does this, each of these classes does? System is a class, and then out is a class for system, and println is a method, and these are available from a package called java.util.io. So these classes are provided from them called as print string. So each of them will help you to print the message. If you want to print a message in a single line, you can write system.out.print, but if you want a break or a next line after the statement that you have printed, you need to provide println. So going forward now, we'll see practically how can you execute this program using a notepad or an Eclipse or the coding ground which is available. We have seen how a sample program looks like, what is the syntax or how can you write. So let us see one example, how can you write in a notepad and execute it. So in order to write a notepad, you need to open a notepad, write the Java program, same as it is which was provided earlier, that is a sample program called welcome. Once you write the program in notepad, save the file with .java extension. You can save it anywhere. In our case, we have saved it in E drive. How do you execute is that you need to open the command prompt, that is cmd. Once you open the command prompt, go to the drive where your folder is located and the file is saved. How do you exit your Java program? Your program name is welcome, right? So how do you first run that? You need to provide a command called java c, then the class name dot java extension. In this case, the compiler will compile the welcome.java class and create your class file. Just in order to check what you can do, go back to your folder where the file is saved. You'll see that now that a class file is created. Once the class file is created, then you run another command called as java and your file name in order to execute your program successfully. And once you run your program successfully, it will print you a message called welcome to Tutorialspoint. So let us now see practically how can you execute this program.
In this program, we will see how can you display a simple message called as welcome to Tutorialspoint. We write certain packages and these packages provide us the collection of framework or the classes that are used to run a Java program. We have created a class called as welcome and the main method. As in Java program, whenever we run this program, the first method that gets executed is the main method. So let us see how do you print a message. We write system.out.println. In the open brackets, we write welcome to Tutorialspoint, where any string should be written in double quotes and then we close the brackets with the semicolon. But what does this system.out.println stands for? System is a class to java.lang package, out is a static member to this class, and println is a method to java.io.printstring package. Let us now save this file and see if we can see the output welcome to Tutorialspoint. We say Ctrl S, we save it as an E drive, a sample folder, then we write our program name. The program name and the class name should remain the same, following with the Java extension. Now let us see how do you run this file. We open the command prompt. As our file is saved in E drive, sample folder, and our file name is welcome. So we need to first compile the file welcome.java. This will help us creating a .class file. If you see, you can see a .class file now, and now we need to see the output. So now it displays the output called as welcome to Tutorialspoint.
We have already seen how can you run a sample program using Notepad. Now let us see the readily available tool like Eclipse. How can you use Eclipse to run your Java program? So here, once you download Eclipse, the steps that you need to follow in order to run your program. First, you create a project, give a name to that project. How can you consider what is a project for you? Here, for an example, you are doing your graduation and you have been given a project, and that project is nothing but hotel management. So this hotel management is nothing but your project name. And once you create your project, you need to create certain Java classes. And how do you create a Java class? You need to go to the toolbar, select new, and then click on Java class. This is how you create a Java classes, and n number of Java classes you can create, and you can also create n number of packages where each of the classes will fall under each of the packages. So let us now see practically how can you create project, associate certain packages, and then classes underneath.
Let us now see how can you create the same program using Eclipse. You first need to create a new project, which is a Java project. Give the project name. We write it as tutorials and click finish. This helps you creating a project. The second step would be to create a class. We need to select source file, right click, new, select class. Give the class file name that you would want to create. Welcome is my class file name. Every Java program starts execution with its main method. It's a good practice to select the main method here. Click Finish. You can see that now one class file called welcome is created with the main method. Let us try printing the message. System.out.println, where we pass a string value called as welcome to Tutorialspoint. We shall save this file with the help of Ctrl S, which will automatically compile the file. Click on function key F11 to run the program, or click on Run to see the output. If you can, the console display the message called welcome to Tutorialspoint. Let us see another method which says system.out.print. Hi everyone. What does this print stands for and how it differs from println? Print also overloads the string. It means it tries to display the string message as hi everyone. And println purpose is also to display welcome to Tutorialspoint, that is a string. But what is the difference between print and println? Println would display the text following a next line, that is an enter, whereas print would only display the string. Let us save this file and try running to see the output. The console says that hi everyone, welcome to Tutorialspoint. It prints the entire message in one single line because the first string is written under the method called print. Let us now swap these methods to see how the output looks like. Ctrl S, again F11. Now you can see it displays the string in two lines. Welcome to Tutorialspoint, and again in the next line it says hi everyone, because the println displays the string message following with an enter.
We have already seen how to create a sample program using one of the text editor, using one of the tool like Eclipse. Now let us see what if you do not have any of these available, then the Tutorialspoint provide you a coding ground where you can execute your Java program. So what you need to do is that go to the tutorialspoint.com. On the right hand side you will see a coding ground tab. Click on that. You will have an editor available where you just need to go write your program, compile and run the program. So now let us see how practically you can use or how you can write this program.
Let us now see how you can execute the same program using the coding ground available with our Tutorialspoint. First you need to go to our site, which is www.tutorialspoint.com. Click on coding ground tab, and then the language that you would want to run in. For now we want Java 8. We click on Java 8. And this will display the coding ground where you can create your file. So the first step to create your file would be, here you have a plus symbol, you can click on that. That will create an additional file, or under file you can create a file, or by right clicking on root. So we say create a file, and the name of the file I would want to say as welcome.java file. In this Java file we write the syntax where we have provided the util package, the class name as welcome, multi-line comments, and in the main method we have written single line comments and multi-line comments. And the first method where we are trying to display the output called welcome to Tutorialspoint. So you just need to go write public class, the keyword, class name as welcome, where W first case will be uppercase. In the open braces we now know how to write the multi-line comments, and then in the main method is what you will write, what you have to print. So we want to print welcome to Tutorialspoint under the println method. So system.out.println welcome to Tutorialspoint. We need to first save this file, then compile and execute. We need to go to the project, compile options. Hello world is the by default file that you would want to run. So we are just changing the name of the file, at compilation time and at execution time which file is to be compiled and executed. Once you update that, click on compile. This will compile your file. The compilation code is javac, your class name .java. Once it has successfully compiled with no errors, you can click on execute and this will execute your program. This is where you get the output called welcome to Tutorialspoint. So similarly, you can create any other files by clicking on the plus symbol, then changing the compile options where you change the class name in the compilation and execution time.
Till now we have seen what a Java program and a sample program where how you write a Java program in order to print a normal string message welcome to Tutorialspoint. But let us now see in advance, if you have to store some certain information and then display it, how will you do? For an example, we take a class human which has certain data and behavior, right? The data may be of age, the name or a department, anything, right? So you need to store these values somewhere, some memory. So what variable does is that a variable will provide you or allocate a piece of memory where it allows you to store your value in that particular piece of memory. But that memory, what type of value will it store or what size of that value it will allow you to store, you need to decide on that. And how do you decide or how the computer determine what size or type of value it will accept and will allow you to store is done by a data type. So here the data types are nothing but which allows or which tell you what kind of a data or what size of a data will you be able to store. For an example, if you have to store an integer value, you use int, right? This is numerical. There are certain other data types which allows you to store integer values, and there are certain data types which also allows you to store textual values and so on. In the going forward video, we'll see what are the data types which will allow you to store different kinds of values. You have two types of data types in the previous slide, as you must have seen. There are primitive, which are also called as value type, non-primitive, which are called reference. What is the main difference between primitive and reference? Primitive data types are certain which allows you to store simple values, and these values or the size or the type of value is predefined in Java. You cannot modify the set of operation for these primitive data types. Whereas in reference, the class objects or the array variables that you create are nothing but reference data types, and these variables are created using the constructor of that particular class. In the going forward, we'll see how you create these reference objects. Okay, for now we have to understand what are these data types and what are the difference between these data types. So primitive data type which holds the value or which allows you to hold one of these kind of value will be stored in stack, whereas in reference they will store the value in heap. Why is that kind of a difference? Because the primitive data value size is predefined, whereas in reference you cannot predefine the value. For an example, you may not know what data or what output you would want to print. So the string value is unknown. Therefore, you use in that case string data type, or when you do not know the size of the value, it may be string, it may be integer, it may be any format, you use arrays and then certain class objects. In primitive data type, you have certain numeric, textual and boolean. Where boolean stands, it provides you one bit of information that may be true or false, and then textual, a byte or a char which allows you a one bit information, and then the numeric is nothing but your int, long, short, double, float, etc. So let us now understand the comparison of each of these primitive data types. In this chart, as you can see, the first and the second, byte and short, are the two complements integer. It means that they are used mainly to save the memory space in array, and these are nothing but byte is 4 times shorter than int and short is 2 times shorter than int. Therefore, and whereas int is a by default integer value, it means if you have to store any numerical value, int is a default type. And you can see the comparison, what is the size, 8, 16, 32, and then 64 is nothing but long. Where you are trying to store a numerical value and integer, but you are unable to, that is the value is larger than what you can store in int, is nothing but done with help of long, which is of 64 bits. Next you come to float and double. Float and double are nothing but which allows you to store decimal value. By default that you use in Java to store decimal value is double, and float is nothing but used to save the space of an array of floating point. One point to remember in case of float and double is that both of them cannot be used for precise values, like you will not be able to store the currency values. The next two are char and boolean. Char enables you to store a single character. A boolean will either return true or false. By default value of boolean is false. We have already seen how to create the basic data types, or what are the basic data types. Let us see in detail how you can use them. In order to understand that, first we need to understand what a literal is. A literal is nothing but a fixed value in your program, and these values are nothing but which can be stored with the help of the primitive data types that you have seen earlier. We have listed out few of the primitive data types which store its value. So the literal here is a byte where the variable name is a and the value is 68. Similarly, we have used few other primitive data types of char and a string. Char, which is holding one single character, and a string nothing but a sequence of character in its double quotes. Let us see in detail what does this literal does. If you remember, the four primitive data types are nothing but short, byte, int and long. 4 of these are which used to express both decimal, hexadecimal and in octal way. In order to express these data types in an hexadecimal and an octal way, you need to prefix them with certain values. In case of octal, you need to prefix with 0, and in case of hexadecimal, you need to prefix with OX. We have listed out certain example of integers which are used to represent a normal integer value, octal value and a hexadecimal value. Here the first one says an integer type, the variable name is decimal and certain value. Next one is octal, which is represented or which represents its int value but prefixed with 0, whereas here it is 0, 1, 4, 4. The next one is hexadecimal, which says that the integer value should be prefixed with OX. In our example, it is OX 64. This is in case of certain primitive types, but we have a reference data type called as string. How this string works with literals. In any other language, what we do, how do we represent string is in double quote. Similarly, even in Java, we represent string in double quote. A string is nothing but a sequence of characters that is written in double quote. Next, a string and char, both of them supports a Unicode character. So this is how a literal works, which stores a fixed value, and all the primitive data types and the string reference type support these literals.
Let us see an example of how you can declare literals. By now we know that a literal allows you to hold a fixed value for a particular type. You may have your decimal literals, boolean literals, string literals, char literals and so on, where each of these primitive data types, which are nothing but your int, byte, short and char, can hold your octal values or hexadecimal values. Here we have created certain variables, which is one is of int type holding a fixed value of 10. Then we declare an octal type which starts with 0, hexadecimal which starts with OX and then the value, and then a character which holds in a single quote, and then the string in double quotes. And if you want any particular characters like the / or backslash to be printed, then you can use escape sequences in these cases. So these are literals which allows you to hold a fixed value for your particular data type. And if you want, you can also use your boolean. How you declare is with the boolean keyword, and then you want to state and I say yes, it is true. So it allows you to hold a fixed value whether it is true or false.
What are these escape sequences? So let us consider a scenario why you need this escape sequences. For an example, you have run a sample program where you were trying to print welcome to Tutorialspoint. So what you did? You have created a data type and then the variable, and in that variable you provided, or you printed the direct character of sequences, right? And those characters was welcome to Tutorialspoint in a single line. But what if I want certain other characters in that particular string, or when you are representing or giving an output of a character like my grade is A, along with that A you need certain other character. What you do? In those cases we use escape sequences. So in Java we have certain escape sequences which satisfy our need. For an example, you want to print welcome in first line and then to Tutorialspoint next line. In that case, what you can do is that you provide the complete string under single quotes with additional one escape sequence in between welcome and Tutorialspoint. So let us see how it works. These are the certain example or few of the escape sequences which will understand how do you work with, where n, so this is nothing but backward slash, and n, this is for the new line which we already spoke about, welcome next line Tutorialspoint. What if you need a tab space, or where you need only a space between characters? In those cases again you can use backward slash t, backward slash s. In what cases you want like a quote you want to display? In that case, where you are trying to display a quote, you would want to display a quote along with a single quote or along with double quotes. In those cases, you again use escape sequences. In this example, we will be seeing how can you use this escape sequences in your real-time program. So let us now see practically how to use these escape sequences.
In this program, we will see how to use the escape sequences or the escape character. We have already created a class called escape sequence with the main method. In the earlier program, you have seen how to display a string welcome to Tutorialspoint. Similarly, we would be trying to display string here called he said hello Tutorialspoint, but using certain escape sequences where each escape sequence has certain meaning. How do you write an escape sequence? We write a backward slash following t, where both of this character means a tab. He said, again following backward slash n, where backward slash and n is nothing but for the new line. Let us see the output of this particular program. We first save the file, Ctrl S, and then click on F11 to see the output. In the output, as you can see, there is a tab which is backward slash t and then the message he said. In the next line, it displays hello because you have mentioned backslash n, which stands for next line character. Again, after hello, you can see there is a backward slash n which is for the new line, so you have an empty line here. Then it prints Tutorialspoint. The next line says hi backward slash r hello. The backward slash r stands for carriage written. Therefore, you see hi, next line hello.
So let us learn about the basic operators. What are these Java basic operators? Normally, what are operators? Operators are certain thing that helps you to perform operations over your operands. Operands are nothing but your variables which helps you to store some value. For an example, you have certain integers like numbers where you say a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. Now here a and b is your operand, and this equal to sign or plus sign, minus sign, all these are operators. So let us understand about each of these operators. We have certain operators where the first one is your arithmetic operator. What is this arithmetic operator? As the name denotes, arithmetic operator which you also use in your mathematical, like what is plus, minus, into, modulus. So it helps you to perform certain arithmetic operation over your operands, where you say a plus b, where this plus is your arithmetic operator. The next one is your relational operator. What is this relational operator? Here you are trying to understand or compare between the operands. You say, is this A equals to B, that is you are trying to see if A is equal to B, you write double equal to, or you say the value of A is less than B or greater than B, and so on, where A is 10 and B is 20, therefore A is less than 20. So this less than or equal to or greater than is your relational operators. The next one is your bitwise operator, where bitwise operator says that every operand will have certain value and this value is converted into bitwise, that is it is converted in or represented in zeros and 1. And how will it calculate? It will calculate certain AND or 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 XOR operations over this bit values, that is over the operands, and each operands like an A holds value as 1 1 1 0 0 0 and B holds 0 0 0 1 1 1. And how will it compare this AND or XOR operation? Bitwise, that is the last bit of A will be compared with the last bit of B and then the value will result. The next one is your logical operator. What is this logical operator? Logical operator says that it will return you the value as true or false, the boolean value, if it is equal or not. So it compared the conditions, the expression. It says that if A is equal to so and so and even B is equal to so and so, if both the conditions satisfied, then the resulting value will be this. That is what your logical operators are. Then is your assignment operators. What are these assignment operators? Assignment operators normally has two expressions where it says that it will calculate the right operand to your left operand and then assign the result of this to your left operand. Just let us take an example where we say as A is equal to B, right? So now the B value will be moved to your A, or we say as C is plus equal to B. Then what will happen? Here C plus will be added to B and then A. So let us just take an example of A and B operand, okay. So now you say A plus equal to B. It means you can also write this equation as A is equal to A plus B, where B, that is your right operand value, is added to your left operand and then the result is stored in your left operand. That is you are assigning the result to your left operand. That is your assignment operators. The last one is your miscellaneous operator. Leaving all these, what are certain operators provided by Java are miscellaneous. This may be your conditional operators, this are comparison or the ternary operators, or what are the precedence of these operators you need to understand. When you say precedence, how will your expression be calculated? Will the multiplication will be given higher precedence than minus? Which bracket will be given the precedence than the other? You need to understand. And in case of these conditional or your ternary kind of operators, we say that if this expression is true, then the value of this operand will be this one or not this one. So these are the kind of operators. So we will understand in the going forward videos about each of them in detail and execute certain programs to understand how each of these operator works. As we know what an arithmetic operator is all about, let us see in detail how can you use or how can you operate using these arithmetic operators. So these arithmetic operators are nothing where you use for your mathematical expression like what we used to do in algebra. So you have certain operators, these are nothing but arithmetic operators where you can perform on operands. So these variables which holds the value, example A and B are nothing but operands and you need to perform certain operation on this which will be done with the help of these operators. In this case we have arithmetic operator. You have plus, minus, division, module, then subtraction, or all of these are nothing but which helps you mathematical operation. One thing that we need to consider here is increment and decrement, which is of utmost important. What do you mean by an increment and decrement? And you also have certain called post increment, pre-increment, post decrement, pre-decrement. Here how it functions we will see in our going forward video, which is nothing but a practical example of using these arithmetic operators. And these arithmetic operators, we have created a program called class test, and in the main method we have created certain variables A, B, C and D which hold certain values, and then each of the operator are here used to explain in detail. We have taken a post increment, post decrement, increment and decrement always increments or decrements the value of the variable by 1. For an example, here a is 10, then in case of post increment the value will become 10 plus 1 and in decrement it will become 10 minus 1. How a post increment, pre-increment works or how it differs from a post and a pre, we shall see in our practical problem.
In this program, we have used certain arithmetic operator to perform certain operations on the variable. We have created a class called arithmetic operator with the main method and certain variables to perform the operations. And these variables are assigned with certain values. What does each operator does here? So we need to write system.out.println in the inverted commas a plus b equal to the one output that you want to see with following plus operator and the value of the operation. So the value of operation here would be, you need to write in the brackets a plus b. This would perform an addition or sum of a plus b would be the output. It should be 30. Similarly, we have performed certain other operations. Those are arithmetic operators. We need to see what a plus plus and a minus minus does. Here a plus plus stands for post increment and a minus minus stands for post decrement. In case of post increment or decrement, the value which is displayed is the original value and then later it performed the operation with plus 1 or minus 1. In case of a plus plus, the original value of a is 10, therefore it should display the value of a as 10 but store the new value as 10 plus 1 which is equal to 11 in its memory. Next time, in the second statement where a minus minus is again called, a which is a post decrement here will first display its old value. The old value of a now is 11 and the new value would be 11 minus 1, 10. So in the memory, a holds a value of 10 for now. In the next statement, d plus plus and plus plus d. As you know, d plus plus is post increment. What does plus plus d stands for? Plus plus d is pre-increment. What is the difference between a post and a pre-increment? Post increment first displays the value and then increment the value with plus 1 and store the new value in its memory. Whereas in case of pre-increment, it first increments the value and then display. So let us save this file and run Ctrl S and F11. As you can see the output, the operator perform its operations a plus b with 30, a minus b minus 10 as a is 10 and 20 b is 20 which is 10 minus 20 is minus 10 and so on. Let us observe the last four main operations. A plus plus, a value is 10, therefore being a post increment it first displays the value. Next is a minus minus, it should again display the original value. The original value of a for now is 11, therefore it presents 11. D plus plus, which is post increment, again being a post increment it should first display its original value and the original value is 25. Next one is pre-increment. In case of pre-increment, first it increments the value of d with 1 and then display. For now the d value is 26, therefore it would increment the value of d by 1 which is 26 plus 1, 27 and it would display 27.
The another type of operator that is available is relational operator, and what this relational operator does is that it provides us or make us understand how or what kind of a relationship is there between two operands or how does these two operands work in relation with each other. So let us see in detail. There are few relational operators provided in Java which helps us in better understanding the performance or the operations between the operands. You have the few one which says the first one is equal to. It calculates whether the value of A is equal to B. If it is yes, then it provides true. If it not, then it will provide false. The next one, it says not equal to. Is A not equal to B? Again it will check if 10 is not equal to B, that is true, therefore it will return you true. Similarly, you have certain where you have less than, greater than, which you know. Next one is less than equal to, greater than equal to. What this less than equal to does is that is A less than or equal to B, it will return true because the first condition which says less than is satisfied, then the second will be ignored. For an example, if value of A is 10 and B is also 10 and we are trying to compare if A is less than equal to 20. Is A less than B? No. So, it should result as false, but it also checks for the second condition if it is equal to B or not, and so on. So, we will see all these by using a program where we have created a class test and two variables A and B holding certain values, and each of the relational operator which will help us further understanding. So, let us create a program to run practically to see how each of these operator works.
In this program, we are trying to understand the relationship between the two operands. So, we have created a class called relation operators with the main method and two variables A and B while initializing the value as 10 and 20 respectively. So, let us understand the relationship between A and B by using through relational operators. The first statement says system.out.println, where we are trying to print if A is equal to B or not. So, we write in a string what we need to display: A is equal to B in inverted commas and the value. In case of relational operators, the value which is written in comparison is a Boolean value. So, the Boolean value would be either true or false. The first statement which says A is equal to B or not will return the value true if the value of A is equal to B and false if A value is not equal to B. Similarly, the function follows if A is not equal to B, if A is greater than B, or A is less than B, B is greater than or equal to A, or B is less than equal to A. Let us save this file, press F11 to see the output. The console here displays the output. The first statement says A is equal to B. If A is equal to B, if 10 is equal to 20, no. So, that is false. Is A not equal to B? Is 10 not equal to 20? Yes. So, that is true. And similarly, the rest of the operation functions.
Another type of an operator which helps or which provides us a kind of an operation that you can perform on operands are a bitwise operator. With the name as it indicates, bitwise. So, the operation that you perform on the operands would be bitwise. So, every value, for an example, an integer value A which is 10 or 65 should be converted into a binary number, and these binary numbers should be in zeros and ones. Similarly, the rest of the operand values are also to be converted into these binary values. So, these bitwise operators, who supports them? You have integer data types which are supported for this bit type, like you have int, short, long, byte, char. Why do you use a char? Where a char is nothing but it represents a character, but every character, every single character has certain binary value associated with it. We have taken here an example of A and B. We have provided the binary value of A and binary value of B, and certain example where it tries calculating the binary or bitwise operation on these two operands. It may be AND, OR, XOR or negative. So, let us understand in detail about each of these operations. In the first one, it says bitwise AND, where AND is nothing but both the operands operator or the bitwise value should be same. That is, if both the operands has the bit value of 1, the resulting will also be 1, and if any of them is 0, the resulting value will be 0. In the next one, it says bitwise OR, where it says either of the bit value of A or B should be 1, therefore the resulting value will be 1. In XOR, it says that either of them being 0 or either of them being 1, it will be 0. Let us go back to our previous slide to further understand about it. We have here 0, 1, the resulting value is 1, 0, 0, the resulting value is 0, 1, 1 and the resulting value is 0. So what it does is that if either of the operand has a bit value as 1, the resulting value will be 1, and if both of them are 0 or both of them are 1, the resulting value will be 0. The next one is the bitwise complement, which is exactly opposite to the value that you provide. Then you have left side, right shift and then 0 right shift. Left shift does nothing but it shifts the binary value or the bitwise value twice on the left hand side. Why twice? You can give any number, 2 times, 3 times, whatever number you give, it will move so many number times. Similarly, it works on the right hand side, but this right side is different with 0 right side. In case of right side, it will move the bit twice or thrice on the number of times you provide on the right hand side, where the left side it will remain the same. For an example, you have a value called 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, and you have to move this value twice on the right hand side. What will be the resulting value? It will move 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. So these two 0 which is on the right hand side will come front, and the resulting value will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. So in case of this right shift, it will not provide the output as 0, 0, 0, 0. It will just provide the output as 1, 1, 1, 1, ignoring the zeros. Whereas in case of the last one, 0 fill right shift, it will provide you those zeros as well. To better understand how each of the bitwise operator work, we have created here a class called test, and we will perform certain operands on A, B and C to understand how does each of the bitwise operator work, and we will see the output.
We have created a class called bitwise operator with the main method to explain how bitwise operator functions. We have created 3 variables A, B, C with the value as 60, 13, 0 respectively. Why C is 0? To hold the value of A and B into it. We have printed the A and B value as a binary number, which is read as 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. But this is the wrong way to read. We need to usually read from the backward, which should be 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. So let us see the functions now. The first one says that C is equal to A and B, which is nothing but AND operator. And AND operator, how it functions is that both the bit value of the operand should be 1. If either of them is 0, the resulting value becomes 0. So how it functions? 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1 is 1 because both of them should be 1, 1, 1 again 1, 1, 0 is 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is the resulting value of C. Let us print this value, which should be in system.out.println, and the string that you would want to display should be under inverted commas, which is A and B is equal to with the value that you would want to print. And this value is printed with the plus operator. So C holds the value as A and B. The next function is A or B. A or B, how it functions is that either of the bit value of the operands should be 1. Therefore, the resulting value will be 1. 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 0. Therefore, the resulting value is 61 and it will be printed. The next is A XOR B. In this case, how it functions, let us see that 0, 1 is 1, 0, 0 is again 0, 1, 1 is 0. Why? In this case, in the case of A XOR B, only one of the bit of the operand can be 1.
If both of them are 0 or 1, the resulting value becomes 0. So the following is 1 0 is 1, 1 0 is 1, 0 0 is 0, 0 0 is 0. Let us print the value of C now. The next is C is equal to A negative, that is opposite value of A. The current value of A is 0 0, 1 1, 1 1, 0 0. So in this case, it will flip the bit value of A. 0 will become 1 and 1 will become 0. So the value will be 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 1. Now it is a negative value, which is minus 61. Again, we'll print this value of C. The next is A left side 2. It means the value of A operand would move 2 times on the left side. A value is 0 0 1 1 1 1 0 0. So it should move on the left side. Left side means this 1 1 will replace 0 0, this 1 1 will come in this 1 1 place, and this 0 0 which will be moved will go back. So the value will become 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 0, because these two values are moving on the right hand side. The next is A right side 2. Therefore, the operand value will move twice the right side. This number can change to it. You can change by 3, 4 the number of positions or the bit value that you would want to move. In here we have taken 2. So A value should move 2 times the right side. Therefore, the value would be this 1 1 will place 0 0, 1 1 will come to this place and the 0 0 moves. The resulting value is 1 1 1 1. Next it says A right side 2. Here again you are moving the operand value of A twice, but you are printing the zeros as well. So as we have seen, if you are moving twice, the value becomes 1 1 1 1, but what are the zeros? What happened to them? They have moved on the right side. So it becomes 0 0 0 0. Let us now save this file and run to see the output. You can see now the value as A and B is 12, A or B is 61, then 49 minus 61 to 40, and the last two value will not change. It is 15 and 15. Although whether it is printing the zeros or it is printing the zeros or not, the value remains 15.
Let us see how can you work on operands using a logical operator. As we have already seen what a logical operator is about, a logical operator helps you understanding what will be the result value of these two operands. For an example, where we are comparing if A is equal to so and so, B is equal to so and so. If both of them are true or either of them are true, what would be the resulting value? So you have certain logical operators that helps us understanding in detail. The first one, it says logical AND operator. What it says that if both the operands holds the same value or are both the operands have the non-zero value, then the result will be false. Right? So it says that for an example, A is 10 and B is also 10. Then what will be the value? So you need to understand or provide a condition for each of these operators. The next one, it says logical OR. If any of them holds a non-zero value, then the resulting value will be true. Where it says either A or B, anyone holding a true value, the resulting value will be true. The next one is logical NOT operator. Logical NOT operator is nothing but it reverses the value of your operand. If A is equal to true, the logical NOT operator will convert or reverse the value of A as false. So in this program example, we have used all the logical operators to further understand how it functions and what will be the output when you are trying to perform certain operations on both, where you say that A and B hold certain value. In order to return a value either false or true, you need to store that particular value of a Boolean type. If you remember, as discussed in data type, a Boolean data type holds a 1-bit information or which allows you to hold information either true or false. So in this case, A is holding true, B is holding false. So what will be the
operation, that is if you are using logical operator A and B, what would be the resulting value? A or B, and then A not logical. So for further understanding, we have created a program to run practically and see what will be the output.
In this example, we shall cover about the logical operators, what are logical operators and how can we use these logical operators on the operands and what should be the resulting value. Normally, logical operator is an operation between the two operands which results the value either true or false. Therefore, in this class of logical operators, under the main method, we have created two Boolean variables. Why? Because the logical operation returns the value either true or false. So, we have taken a Boolean variable A as true and Boolean variable B as false. And you have certain operators. Let us see how can you perform these operations on the operands. So, A and B being the operand and this AND symbol is your logical operator. So, you read it out as A and B is equal to, and what should be the result. So, in order to find out the result between A and B, in the brackets you write A and B. It means it will check for the value, A value is true and B value is false. It says that if both the values are true, then the resulting value would be true, and if any of the value is false, therefore the resulting value will be false. As you can say, where we have learned about the mathematical operation that if you multiply plus minus, it will result into minus. Similarly here, if plus plus, then it will return a result value as plus, and if there is any minus, the resulting value will be minus, that is false. Next, it says A or B. It checks for A value, then or B. If any of the value is true, then the resulting value will be true. If A is true and B is false, the resulting value will be true. And if A is false and B is true, then the resulting value will be true. And if both of them are true, still the resulting value will be true. But if both of them are false, then it will be false. The next one is the reverse of A and B operator. That is, whatever the value it is, it will find its not operator. That is A and B, that is true and false, the resulting value will be false, and the reverse or the opposite of false, which says not operator, is nothing but true. So let us execute this program, and as you can see in the console, it shows the value A and B is equal to false because A is true and B is false. A or B is equal to true because here one of the value, that is A operand, holds the value of true, and then the last one is true because A and B value is false and the reverse of false or the not of false is true.
The next one is an assignment operator which allows us to perform certain operations on the operands using certain assignment operators. So these are the certain assignment operators. Few of them says that whether the value, or you have two values that you write, one is on your left hand side and one is on your right hand side. So you write an equation. For an example, here we consider three variables or three operands. These are A, B and C, and we write an equation as C is equal to A plus B. So we need to see whether the value of A plus B is equal to C or not. So these kind of operations we need to perform. The rest, it says that plus equal to, in case of plus equal to, what it does is that it adds the left operand with the right operand, and the resulting value of this left plus right operand will be stored on your left operand. Similarly, few other are done where minus equal to, multiplication equal to, modulus equal to, divide equal to, and the rest last four are nothing but use of bitwise operators. Those are AND equal to, not equal to, XOR equal to. They perform the operations on the operands remain the same. What you do is that you perform certain operands on the right hand side and then save the value on the left hand side. Again repeating, you have two equations, one is on your left hand side, one is on your right hand side. The equation may hold a single operand or maybe multiple operands. So the value, what you do, again plus equal to, you add the right operator value to the through the left hand side operand, and then you assign the value to your left hand side. We can explain this assignment operator with the help of example program, where we have created a class, created certain variables holding certain value 10, 20 and C is 0. Why C is 0 here is that we are trying to perform certain operations on these two operands, that is A and B, and then store this value in C and print the value of C. In first statement you can see we are saying plus C, where C is equal to A plus B. So A plus B, the sum of these value will be added and stored in C, and then we print C. Similarly, there are certain other operations. C plus equal to A, which stands as C is equal to C plus A. Therefore, here the C value, which is nothing but A plus B. A plus B is what? 10 plus 20. Therefore, C value currently is 30. In the second equation, the C value will be retrieved from the memory where it's stored as 30. Then that 30 will be added to A, that is 30 plus 10 is 40, and now the C value will be 40, and so on. So let us now create a program and run practically to understand how assignment operators work on these operands.
So let us see in this example how you can work with assignment operators, where you consist of two operands here, where you need to assign the value from right side operand to your left side operand, where equals to here defines what should be the value over your right side, and the right side value will be moved to your left side. So let us see here with an example. We have created a class called assignment operator. In that you have a main method. In that main method we have written three variables. Each of the variable is of integer type, where A and B are assigned with values 10 and 20 respectively. C is 0 initially. Why? Because we want to perform certain assignment operators over the A and B value and store the result in C. Therefore, C is initially holding the value as 0. The first equation that we have written, it says C is equal to A plus B. So here we are trying to find out the sum of A plus B, right? So here it will print as A plus B, that is 20 plus 10, and it will be stored in C, and it will be 30. But what is the main use of assignment operator? The main use of assignment operator is to make your equation short and simple, where you add the right operand to your left operand and then assign the result to your left operand. That is, this C plus equal to A, where your right operand is A, which will be added to your left operand, which is C, and then the value of this right and left operand will be assigned to your left operand. So this is equal to, it can also be written as C equal to C plus A, right? So you are adding your right operand to your left operand and then assigning the result to your left operand. Similarly, we have certain other assignment operators where you have the minus, into, module. Then how do you calculate each of them, and then percentile and all. So it remains the same until here. All these equations are the same, where you have minus, into and all of them or each of them you can say can be written as this way, or you can write it as again, where C is equal to C into A. It's the one rule that follows for all the assignment operator is that the right operand to the left operand gets added, divided, multiplied, module and all, and then the result will be stored in your left operand. But what in the case of these two? It says that left side and then right side, and then finally again it has something right side, right? So again this also can be written the same, where it will move the value twice on the left side, move the value twice on the right side, and so on. So let us execute this program to understand how and what would be the output. We click on F11, move the console this side just for our readability purpose. Okay, so now this is clear, where you can say yes, C plus C is equal to A plus B, which is 30, and then this is equal to 40, right? Because now C is 30 and this equation says that C plus A. C is holding currently as 30, so it will become 30 plus 10, which is 40. Now C value is 40. The next will be 40 minus A, which is 40 minus 10, 30. And then each value would be stored in C, and then that C value will be picked up for your next operation. This is how you keep moving the values, and this is how your assignment operators work.
We have already seen certain arithmetic, assignment, relational operators, but let us see what all are the other operators available in Java which helps us to evaluate the expressions. These are nothing but miscellaneous operators which helps us to perform certain other operations on the operands. Few of them are conditional operator, instance of operator, dot operator, new operator, etc. And we need to even understand what precedence of operator does. Here these operators are nothing but which helps you to perform certain other operations. Just like an example, conditional operators are nothing but which will help you understanding what value is to be stored in a variable if the expression evaluates to true or false. Whereas in case of instance of operator, it helps you to compare an object reference is of a particular type or not. And precedence is nothing but which helps you to provide certain brackets or to evaluate a particular expression over the other. So we will see them in detail about each of them to understand how each of them helps us or how it is useful in our programming. Let us learn about conditional operators. What are conditional operators? Conditional operators are nothing but ternary operators. It consists of two symbols. One is question mark, the other one is colon. Collectively, these two symbols form an expression or an equation for these conditional operators. And what these two symbols does is that it will calculate the value for the variable to be stored in. So let us see what it happens as we have a syntax here which says variable x is equal to expression question mark value 1 colon value 2, where value 1 is true and value 2 is false. What it means, you can consider these three as three expression where expression is expression 1, value if true is expression 2 and value if false is expression 3. What happens here is that if expression 1 is equal to so and so, it means if expression 1 satisfies the condition, then the value of expression 2 will be picked and stored in variable x. And if expression 1 condition is false, then the value if false, which is expression 3 value, would be picked and stored in variable x. One important thing that we need to know about these ternary operator is that why do we use them? In order to understand why do we use them, let us understand how this works. Let us take an example where an integer variable called a is equal to 10. In those cases, let us see if a is equal to 10, then the x value will be so and so, and if a is not equal to 10, then x value will be so and so. And both the expressions, those are expression 2 and expression 3, should return the same type. Again repeating, value if true and value if false should return the same type. If value true is of integer type, therefore the value if false should also be an integer type, and they cannot be void. And what do you understand by void? Void is nothing but where you do not return any value. Therefore, the value would be stored in x, and this kind of an operator is mainly used when you want to store some value to a variable depending on a condition. Let us take an example. We have created a class called test. We have a variable 10, and now we would calculate on a condition and then store the value in b variable and then print the value of b. In this case, we have written if a is equal to 1, that we have already learned this equal to in our previous operator chapters. So we write if the variable is equal to 1 in the brackets question mark, then the value of b will be true, that is 20. If not, if it is false, then the value will be 30. In this case, the value is 10, therefore a is not equal to 1, and then the next value would be considered as b value, that is 30, and the value of b would be printed 30. In the second case, if a is equal to 10 and then a question mark, yes, that is true, therefore the first value would be picked up and that value will store in b and then printed. So what we understand out of conditional or a ternary operator is that we use these kind of operators only when you want to store a value to a variable depending on some conditions. So let us now see this example doing practically how the conditional operator works and what would be the resulting value of b in either of the cases.
We have created a class called conditional operator with the main function and two variables a and b. A is holding value as 10 and b is written to understand how does a conditional operator work. Conditional operators are nothing but ternary operators. So it consists of 3 operands and it is used to evaluate a Boolean expression. And the 3 operands here would be, see, you have b and then the value should be either 20 or 30. So this statement can be explained as if a is equal to 1, which is an expression and a question mark. So if this expression is true, then the value of b will be 20, and if the expression is false, the value of b will be 30. Let us see in this case, is a equal to 1? What is the value of a? A is equal to 10. So is 10 equal to 1? No. Therefore, it is false, and the false value is always after the colon, which is 30. So let us print the value of b here. System.out.println in the brackets in inverted commas, what needs to be the output, that is the value of b is plus the value we will fetch from b. Let us see the next case where we write if a is equal to 10, if it is true, please print 20 as b. If it is false, then the b will hold the value as 30. So what's the value of a here? It is 10. Is 10 equal to 10? Yes. So the value is true, and the true would be the first before the colon, which is 20. Here the b value should be 20. Let us save this file and run. As you can see in the console, first one says the value of b is 30. Why 30? Because a is not equal to 1 and the false value would be printed as b. In the second case, a is equal to 10, then the true value would be printed as b.
The next kind of a miscellaneous operator is instance of operator. What it does, let us understand in detail. Instance of operators are called as comparison operator. Why do we call them as comparison operator is that we are trying to compare the object reference whether it is of a particular type or not. Let us understand in detail with the help of its syntax. We have written object reference variable instance of a class or an interface type. What it does here is that it tries to compare that a particular object variable that you have created is type of that particular data type or a class or an interface type. Let us take an example of a string where you have given your name. So name is nothing but a string data type, and you have created a variable with the name called name. So you write string name equals to Monica, as my name is Monica. Then what we do, we are trying to check that variable, the variable name is name, N-A-M-E, is an instance of a string type or not. We are trying to compare that. So this instance of is a keyword to check whether an object reference variable is type of that particular reference or a class or an interface type. And this instance of operators are useful to check whether it passes is a check relation or not. Is a check relation is nothing but whether one object reference type is compatible with the reference type or not. So let us see here with an example. We have created a class called test. In the main method, we have created an data type of string, variable name as name. So this creation is called a variable where the data type is string, the variable name is name, equals to Monica in double quotes because string value is provided in double quotes, and then end with a semicolon. Following, we are trying to check whether this name is a type of string or not, right? So is this name an instance of string or not? So when we say or not, it will return us a boolean value if it is true or false. Therefore, we create a variable called boolean, and the boolean variable name is result. Therefore, the value of this, whether it is true or not, will be stored in this result, and then the result would be printed. The print would be either true or false. Therefore, instance of operators helps you to understand, make the comparison whether this particular object variable is of that particular type or not. Let us consider another example. In this example, we are trying to understand about the new operator plus instance of. We have certain other operators in miscellaneous, those are dot operator, new operator, etc. But what does this new operator does? We need to understand that. What we have done in this example is that we have created two classes. The first class is car, the second class is vehicle. Now we are trying to understand if the class car is type of vehicle or not. So in that case, what we do is that we need to first create an object for the car class, right? So we write car, then the object name equal to new keyword. This new keyword is nothing but new operator. Declaring and creating object are two different things. You can declare a variable by car A. So this is nothing but you declaring an object for the car class, but it will not instantiate or it will not be saved in memory. How it happens is with the help of a new operator. So you write equal to new followed with the constructor name, and then in the bracket that helps you to instantiate this object. Again repeating, this new operator will enable you to create and declare this particular object and then save a memory for this particular object in the computer. Next, our statement says that if A is an instance of vehicle, if car is a type of a vehicle. In this equation, yes, car is a type of a vehicle, therefore the value will be true and that will be stored in result. If it was not, the value would have been stored as false and then you would have printed. So both of these examples we will run practically and see how and what happens when we write each of the statement, how it execute, what would be the output. So going forward, whenever you have to check is a relationship, it is always recommended to use a comparison operator.
We have created a class called instance of operator to check if a particular object reference variable is an instance or a type of a particular type or not. So the class name is instance of operator with the main method. We have created a variable called string which will hold the value, and this string variable name is name. String, which is a data type, then the variable name equals to the value. Being a string value, we have written in the inverted commas followed with a semicolon. So the question is to check if Monica, or the value which is holding Monica is name, if name is a type of a string or not. How can you check that? By writing name instance of string, where instance of is a keyword, is a reserved word which has predefined meaning in Java. So this will return a Boolean value whether if this particular expression is true or false. So we create a variable called as Boolean, and the variable name is result, which will hold the value true or false, and then we print the value. Let us save this file and run. So if you see, it is true. Why true? Because yes, name is a type of a string. Let us see another example to understand the instance of operator better. We have created a class called car and then another class called vehicle. We are trying to understand the new object or the new vehicle that we are creating is a type of a car or not, or is a type of a vehicle or not. There are certain vehicles which may be a car, scooter, bicycle and all. So we need to understand if this particular vehicle is type of a car or not. So we are creating an object and the object is created with the help of a new keyword. So we write new vehicle because we are creating a new vehicle which is a type of a class vehicle. So new vehicle is type of a car or not, and that is nothing but A. So this is the reference variable. And now if A is a type of vehicle or not, if it is yes, it will save the value in result. If it is false, again it will save the value to a result. So let us see if it is a type of a vehicle or not, if car is a type of vehicle or not. Let us save the file and run. So it says true. Yes, car is a type of a vehicle and the value is stored in result and then printed.
Let us see what is the precedence of operators. Normally you have number of operators in a sequence, right? But which operator helps you performing first and then later we need to understand that. So let us understand in detail how does this precedence of operator work. In precedence of operator, what happens is that when you write an expression, it contains of more than one operator. For in these cases, Java has defined a set of rules by specifying which operator needs to be evaluated first and then later. For an example, you have this equation. How can you define this? You need to understand that in this case, one operand is being shared by two operators. So which operator should perform first and which operator to be performed later, we need to decide that. Here the operators are nothing but plus and the multiplication, and operands are the numbers here, right? So 3 being an operand is being shared by plus and multiplication operator. So which performance has to be done first, we need to understand that. So how can we do that is that with the help of parenthesis. Parenthesis is something that which helps us which particular part of expression has to be evaluated first or in precedence over other. Let us take an example of this 7 plus 3 into 2. In the case what we calculate should be 7 plus 3, that is 10, then into 2, which will be 20. But the value here in computer, this is wrong. How can you calculate is that multiplication is given higher precedence than plus. So we provide parenthesis next to 3 into 2. So here 3 into 2 will be calculated as one expression and that value will be summed up to 7. Therefore 3 into 2 is 6. 6 plus 7, the value will be 13. Let us see in the table what are the precedence of operators. Here are certain precedence which says that this multiplication is above the addition, and then if you want to calculate the precedence with relation, that is multiplication, division and so on, what you need to do is that calculate from your left to right. Here it is given what would be the syntax. Here it will be right to left consider. In this case it will be left to right. So using this table you can decide what kind of an equation or an expression that you would want to write. Let us now see what decision making does in case of our computer programming language. How a decision making is useful while writing a program, we need to understand that. Before that, let us understand why do you need decision making. Everyone in life, in some point, they need to make certain decision, whether we need to follow this path or another path. So there is always two paths where you need to choose one of them. Similarly, when you write programs, there are certain situations where you need to take some decision. And it says that if we are taking this decision, what is to be done? If we are taking another decision, what is to be done? So in case of computer programming, there may be either true or false. We say that if this condition is met, that is if the condition is true, please execute these block of statements, and if the condition is false, please execute the other part of the statements. So let us understand with this graph. It says that if the condition is met, please execute a statement or the number of statements written under this, and if the condition is false, please execute the rest of the statements, and once it is done, it terminates it. So let us understand what are the types of decision making available in our programming language. We have few of them available. Those are if else, nested if and switch. What each of them does, we need to remember. Everyone has the vital role, and how it works in Java program, we need to understand that. What if statement does is that it checks if the condition is true. It says if the condition is true, please execute a block of statements. If else says that if the condition is not true, please execute the rest of statements. The next, it says nested if statements. You must be aware about what is nested. Nested is nothing but where you write a block of code under another block of code. Nested if means that you can write one if condition under another if condition, that is outer if condition and inner if condition. The next one, it says that switch case. Switch case is nothing but where it helps you to evaluate or check the variable value with each of the case, and if the case is met, then it returns the value. However, we'll see in detail about each of them in the coming chapters. So we need to remember, in Java we have a topic or a concept called decision making, where you can execute your program on basis of some decisions. So the first kind of decision making statement is if statement. So let us understand how does a if statement works. It says that if statement is calculated on a basis of a condition or a Boolean expression, and how you write an if statement is that with the if keyword. You provide a if keyword followed in brackets, you write what is the condition. If the condition is true, please execute the block of statements written inside the braces, and if it is not true, please come outside the decision. So let us see with an example how it was, but before that we need to understand the flow of this if decision. This diagram will enable you to understand. It says that if the condition is true, then please go execute the block of statements, and then once the condition is done, please execute it. If condition is false, then you need to come outside. In this case, the if condition will check only once, that is, if the condition is met, it will execute the block of statements and come outside, and if the condition is not met, it will still come outside. So let us see an example. In this case, we have created a class called test, and under the main method, we shall write an if condition. For writing an if condition, we use a keyword called if, and in the brackets, we provide the expression, Boolean expression, whether it is true or false. That is, x is less than 20. But where is this x? We need to first declare a variable to which we are trying to compare. So we have declared a variable which is an integer type. So first you declare a variable outside the if condition, and once you have declared and initialized, then you use this variable to compare with any other value, and if that value returns true, then it executes the rest of the statements. So in this we have created an integer x which holds a value 10, and then in if condition you say if x value is less than 20, if x value which is 10 less than 20 or not. Yes, x is less than 20, therefore it will go and print the statement or the block of statements that you write under the if condition. If the value of x would have been 30, that is 30 is not less than 20, it would have not executed this block of statement and terminated with the program. So let us execute this program practically to understand how an if condition works.
In this example, we try explaining how if works. So the class name is if example and then the main method. Under the main method, we would be writing the code that needs to be executed. We have created a variable x with a holding of value 10. Now we need to check if x is less than 20 or not. If yes, then please print the statement. So the if statement can be written with if keyword, where I being in the lowercase, then in the braces we write down the condition. If this condition is met or if the condition is true, then the block of statements are executed. If the condition is not met, then it is terminated. Here x value is 10. It will check if x is less than 20. Yes, 10 is less than 20. It will go print the value of x and it says this, yes, we are in if statement. It will not repeat the value or it will not increment the value because we have not provided any condition. In order to increment or display the incremented value, we use the for loop. Here we are just checking if the condition is met or not. Let us save this file and run. It prints the value of x and it says if statement. So if you want to modify, you can say the value of x is so and so with a plus operator which will fetch the value. Let us save the file and again run. So now it says the value of x is 10 and this is an if statement.
The next type of a statement which is available, which helps you to take a decision, is if else. How if else work, how it is different from if, let us understand that in detail. As you can see here is that normally an if statement will execute if an expression is true. But what if an expression is not true? What is the other block of statements to be executed if the condition is not true? In those cases, we use if else statement, and this else statement is optional. It is not necessary that every if statement should be followed with an else. So, but in this case, we will try understanding how if else work. We use an if keyword, provide a boolean expression and then provide the braces. In that braces, we provide saying that these block of statements are to be executed if the condition is true. And if the condition is not true, outside the braces, we provide an else keyword. And this else keyword, remember, should not be there with a semicolon, because semicolon means end of the statement, whereas else here is again a method like where you provide a braces, again a statement which needs to be executed. So it is just in a general term, if you are trying to take a decision, you are saying that we want to take this decision or this particular path. If you are not taking this particular path, there is always an alternative path, right? But if there is only one path, the alternative path may or may not be available. It's the same case with if else. There may be one if statement, but else may or may not be. Okay, so let us understand in detail with the help of a graph. We say that if the condition is met true, please execute the block of statements. This is what if works. Now it says if the condition is false, what is the other block of code to be executed? So the difference between if and if else would be, if the condition is true, please execute and terminate. But in case of if else, there is an if statement, there is also an else statement. So let us understand in detail with the help of a class. We have created an example with a class called test. Under the main method, we have created a variable of integer type where the value is 30. And how we write if else statement here is that under if keyword, under the bracket, will provide a boolean expression, and if this expression is true, it will execute the code or the block of statements written inside the if statement. If not, we write an else keyword outside that block, and then again we provide a block for an else statement and we write whatever we have to execute. In this case, x value is 30. It will check if 30 is less than 20. Is 30 less than 20? No. If it was less than 20, then the value of if statement would have been executed, but because here the value of x, that is 30 is not less than 20, therefore the else statement would be executed and it will print this is an else statement. So let us run this program practically for our better understanding.
In this example, we'll explain how does if-else work. As you have seen earlier, what is if and how do we write the syntax. In case of if, it checks for a particular condition. If the condition is met, it executes the block of statement and then terminates and does not print or execute any other block of statements. Whereas in case of if-else, what it does is that it first try checking the condition. If the condition is met, it will execute a particular set of statements. If the condition is not met, that is else, then it should print or execute the rest of the statements. We have created an integer int x equals to 30. So how do we write the syntax? If the keyword in the braces the condition, which is x is less than 20, please print or execute the rest of the statements or the block of statements. Else, we write outside the block of if, we write else, the keyword and then the block of statements to be executed. So is x less than 20? Is 30 less than 20? No. Therefore, the if condition is not met, then what else should be executed? It says if it is not equal to or less than 20, please print the value of x. Let us save this file and execute the program to see the output. It says the x is 30 and this is else statement. Now, what if we change the value of x as 10 to see what would be the output? It says the x value is 10 and this is if statement. Why? Because x, the value holding 10, is less than 20. Therefore, it will print or execute the block of statements under if.
By now we know how an if statement works, how if else works, but let us see how if else statement works and what is all about. See, normally we write if the condition is true, please execute these block of statement, else execute the other block of statements. But we may also provide other else's, and these other else's or other kind of a conditions available will be written between if and else, and these other conditions are written with the help of a keyword called else if. So let us see how this else if works and what are the rules to write this else if. Normally we write if and else statement as with the help of if keyword, then the block of statement, else the block of statement, and else if will be written between if and else if. So every if statement can have 0 or more than one else statement, but the else statement will come at the last, that is the else statement will come following all the else if statement. Then an if statement can also have 0 or more else if statements. It means it may have 0, it may have 1, 2, 3, as many else if statements you want to provide, but all these else if statements will be written between if and else statement. The last it says that an else if succeeds, that is once you come to the last else if statement, then none of the other else if statements would be executed. It means you have executed an if statement, then else if, then B else if, C else if. So if C else if is the last else if, then you will not go back up to its previous else if statements. So let us understand with the help of an example, but before that, what is the syntax of if else statement? It says that use a keyword if, in the bracket the boolean expression. If it is true, then it will go check, right? Then it will execute the other statement. If the condition is not true, then ideally it should go to your else block, but here you have else if block. That is, for an example, I want to travel from one source to another destination. What I do, there may be several paths available to reach to that particular destination. Now it's on me whether which particular path I am supposed to choose. I may have path A, B, C, D and so on. I say that depending on my comfort or depending on my one of the condition, I shall take one of the path. It similarly follows in case of if else statement. If the condition is true, please execute the block of statement. Else if, go check for the second condition. Else if, go check for the third condition. Else if, go check for the fourth condition and so on. And if it does not satisfy any of the condition, finally execute the block of statement that is there in else. Remember, the last else block of statement does not contain any condition. So let us understand with the help of an example program how can you use this if else statement. We have created a class called test with the main method. We have created here a variable x with a value 30. Now we are trying to check if the value is equal to 10 or not. If is 10 equal to 30? No. Therefore, the first condition is not met. It will go back, check for the second condition, and that is written with the help of else if keyword. So once you write the if, the condition and then the block of statements under braces, close that braces, provide else if keyword, then in brackets you provide what is the condition to be evaluated. Now it checks if 30 is equal to 20. Is it equal? No. Therefore, it will not execute this statement and come to the next else if block. And next else if block says that if 30 is equal to 30, please execute. Yes, here the third condition, which is third else if condition, is satisfied. Therefore, the value of x 30 will be printed, and all the rest of the statements, if there are any more else if statements even after the condition being satisfied, it will ignore them and terminate. What if the value of x was 40? It means none of the first three conditions were satisfied. Neither it was equal to 10, then 20, then 30. What it does is that it will go and execute the else statement, saying that none of the conditions were satisfied. So let us just provide an output that the conditions were not satisfied, and this is an else statement. So let us execute this program practically in order to better understand.
In this example, we are trying to explain how does if else if works. You remember, if checks for the condition, if else first checks for the condition, if not, what is the rest of the statements to be executed. But what if you want to run some additional statements or a block of statements for certain other conditions? So let us try understanding with this example where we have created a class called if else if exam. We have created a variable x holding a value of 30. The first statement that we write is if in the braces, if x is equal to 10, then please print the block of statement. Else we write please print or execute this block of statement. Where do we write this else if block? Else if block is written in between if and else statement. So else if come after if block and comes before else block. You can write as many else if blocks as you want to. So we write another else if block. We check if x is equal to 20, please execute these statements. If x is equal to 30, please execute these statements, and you can provide n number of conditions that you want to write following the same else if, the condition and block of statements. In this case, we check if 30 is equal to 10. No. So this if block is terminated and not considered. Then it checks else if x is equal to 20, please print this. Is 20 equal to 30? No, it will not execute the statement. Next, it goes to the next condition, which is else if x equal to 30. Is 30 equal to 30? Yes. Please execute these block of statements where it will print value of x is 30, and we write this is an else if block. The last will be terminated and not to be considered or will not be checked. Let us save the program and execute to see the output. It says the value of x is 30 and this is an else if block. Let us change a little to understand how it works. Let us make it 40. So what do you think, which block will be executed? Is 40 equal to 10? No. Is 40 equal to 20? No. Is 40 equal to 30? No. Then if no condition is met, please execute the else condition. This is else block and none of the conditions are met. Let us save and run this file. So it prints the last statement, which is this is an else statement and none of the conditions are met.
The next type of decision making which is available is nested if statement. Let us see what does this nested if statement means. As the name implies that nested means one under the other. Therefore, it says nested if or nested if else statement. It means that you can write one if condition under another if condition. It is also possible with else if statements where you can write under each other. So let us see an example where you can write one if condition under another, and how will the syntax follow is you will write the if keyword, the boolean expression, and if this expression is evaluated to true, then the inside or the nested if statement will be executed. So if this condition is true, then it will go check if its inner class or child if condition is true or false. So let us explain this with an example. Here we have created a class called test, and under the main method we have created two variables x and y, where we are trying to understand each of the condition or if. So we say if x equal to 30, if the first condition is met true, then please go and check its nested if condition. If the main condition is not true, the nested if condition will not be checked and it will come outside the condition. In this case, we say yes, 30 is equal to 30. That is, your first condition is satisfied, then it will go check for the second condition. And the second condition says that if 10 is equal to 10, therefore the second condition is also satisfied. Once the second or the inner or the nested if condition is satisfied, then it will execute the block of statements. And this block of statements says that x value is so and so and y value is so and so. Now let us take another scenario where the main condition does not satisfy. That is, the outer condition doesn't satisfy. X value for an example is 20. So if 20 is equal to 30. Is 20 equal to 30? No. Therefore, the outer condition is not satisfied. Therefore, the inner block of statements will not be executed and it will come outside. Let us take another scenario where x value is 30 but y value is 20. What happens in this case? If 30 is equal to 30, yes, the parent condition is satisfied, it will come and check its inside condition. The next condition says that is y equal to 10, where y is 20 for an example. So if 20 equal to 10, no, the condition is not met, therefore the block of statement will not be executed. But what if you want to understand which if condition is executed, and if you want to provide a certain type of an output, how do you write? For an example, for understanding that parent if has executed, you want to print a statement. What you can do is that provide the if condition, then under if first provide system.out.println, and you can provide this is the parent if statement which has been satisfied, and then following that you provide the next if statement. So let us execute this program practically in order to understand how an if or nested if condition works.
This example is to understand how does nested if statement works. Normally the statement that we write under another statement are called nested. That is, if we write one if condition under another if condition, then it becomes nested. We can also write if else nested statements. That is, one if else statement, another if else statement. In this example, we have created two variables x equal to 30 and y equal to 10. The first condition says that if x is equal to 30, if this condition is met, then please check the rest of the statements. So the rest of the statement again says if y is equal to 10, that is if the second condition is true. If both these conditions are true, only then it will execute the block of statement and then terminate. Here we check if x is equal to 30, which is 30 is equal to 30, yes, then it allows to check the second condition. And if x is not equal to 30, if the condition is not met, then the next condition will also not be checked and the loop ends here. So 30 is equal to 30, true, then it checks if y is equal to 10, which is yes, 10 is equal to 10, then it prints a value. Let us save this and run the program. As you can see in the console, both the conditions were met and the result was printed. Let us change the value and understand better. Here we have changed the value of y. Okay, so now it checks if x equal to 30, yes, it is 30. It goes for the next statement and check. Now if 20 is equal to 10, no, it should not print this block of statement. So let us see what should be the output. So there is no output, but then you want a output if a particular condition is met. So we write system.out.println that the first condition was met. Let us save this and run. So you can see that it says that the first condition was met. So in this case, it checked is 30 equal to 30? Yes, please print this and then go to the second condition. Now what if the first condition is not met? We give it as 40 and let us save and run where the second condition is met. We save and then run. If you see, no statement would be executed because the first condition itself is not met. Therefore, it will not go check whether the second condition is met or not. What if both the conditions does not meet? If you remember, earlier I said if the first condition does not meet, if the parent condition does not meet, the under or the block of conditions or the statements will not be executed.
The next step of the decision statement that you have available is switch statement. So let us see how does this switch statement work and what is it all about. If you see here, it says that a switch statement allows a variable to be tested against a list of values. That is, we'll just take an example for better understanding about a switch statement. Example, a student has received a report card with certain grade. It may be A, B, C, D and so on. So it says that it will go and check each and every case. Here each and every case will hold a value. Here in our example, A, B and so on are the values. Grade A, grade B and so on are the values. So what it checks is that if the student has obtained a grade A, then please print excellent. If the student has obtained grade B, please print very good and so on. So a switch statement will enable you to check the value of a variable in comparison with the list of values available. So let us see how does this switch statement work. It says that with the help of a keyword called switch, then the expression, and it may have one or more number of cases where each case is holding a value. In our example, it was holding a value of grade A, B and so on, and if it meets A, then the number of statement is executed. So let us see what are the rules to write a switch statement. It says that these are the few listed rules that needs to be obtained or maintained when you write a switch statement. It says that a switch statement can only have integer values, and even if you are having any other values. In our example, we were taking a characters A, B, C and all. So all these character or byte types are convertible integers. Therefore, the switch statement will allow the integer values or the values which can be converted into integer. Then it says that you can have any number of case statement under your switch. See, a switch is which allows or which compare a particular variable with number of values. So in our case, we have A, B, C, D, E grade. They may be have F, G, H and so on. So the number of cases will or are not limited. Third one, it says that the value of case must be the same data type of the variable. As in our first point we have covered, it should be an integer or convertible integer. In our example, we are trying to compare with the grades. Therefore, the variable that you create should be of a char type, because our value in each of the cases are of char type, that is A, B, C and so on. The next one, it says that when the variable being switched on is equal to the case, the statements following that case will execute until a break statement is related. Let me explain all of them together how a break statement works. In our previous classes, we have learned how a break statement works and how it is useful. So it says that a switch statement helps you to check or compare a variable value with each of the listed values. So let us take an example where we say the variable is grade. The name of the variable we are giving grade, but it is of a type char. So we write char grade and then colon, and then for each of these grade we are providing a case value, and the case value will be A, B, C. We say case A, case B, case C and so on. So it says that a switch statement will keep traversing to each of the cases until it matches one of the condition. That is first. The second, it says that once it matches to the value, it will execute the block of statement under that particular case. And if there is a break statement encountered in that particular state, then it will not execute the rest of the statements in switch case and it will come outside the switch. So it means to say that all the statements it will keep executing until unless there is a break statement encountered, irrespective of one of the value being satisfied. Let us again consider our example. We say that the student has obtained a grade B. So first it goes check case A, no, it is not being satisfied. Then it goes case B, yes, it is satisfied because the student has obtained B. It will execute, print that the student has obtained or the student is very good. If there is a break statement or break keyword falling to this statement where the student is very good, then the control terminates there and it will come outside the switch statement. But if no break keyword is encountered after this particular line, what happens? It will keep checking for the rest of the case values, that is C, D, E and so on. But then you should have a last or a final output. What if none of the values are matched? What do you do in that case? You can have a default case where you can provide any output or a block of statement which needs to be executed if none of the value satisfied. So let us understand in detail with the help of an example program. Before that, here we have provided a graph for our better understanding. It says that expression, that is if grade is equal to so and so, if it is equal to A. So we see if the student is A, B, C. So if it is A, it will go and check in the case 1. Is it A? Yes. It will execute this code. If we are checking for B for an example, first it goes to code block 1. It checks, right? So case 1. Is it A? No. Therefore, it comes with case 2. Is it B? Yes. Please execute this block and then terminate. If none of the cases or the value matches with your expression, in that case what you do is that you come to your default value, break and then execute. In this example, we have used switch statement with certain cases to understand. We have created a class and with a variable of char type the variable name is grade and the value is C. So we are trying to compare if the value is equal to C, then please print this block of statements. So first is case A. How do you write? You write the switch keyword. In the bracket, you write the variable name that you want to compare with, then open and close braces. Okay, and open, first you write first case, and this case keyword will start with a lower case, and then because your case value is of a char type, you provide in single quotes. You write case char type is A followed with a colon. This colon is necessary, otherwise it will throw you an error. So once you provide a colon, please execute this block of statement. I say if my grade is equal to A, please print this block of statement and break. And if this break encounters, none of these statements will be executed and it will come outside the switch. But in our case, it is not A. We are trying to compare grade value, which is C. Therefore, it comes to B. B has nothing. We can leave it, or you can write any of the statements if you want to. Then it checks for C. Yes, our grade value is C. Therefore, the case value C is satisfied. Now, this block of statement will be executed, which says that well done. But you have here a break statement. Therefore, the rest of the statements will not be executed. What if you did not have this break statement here? It would still have come, print the value well done, and then the control move to the next case. The switched case will not stop until unless you find a break keyword. For example, you did not have the break keyword here. Once it prints well done, it will go for case D, E, F and so on, and then it finds a break statement, it will come. If none of these conditions were satisfied, then there is a default colon and it will print this invalid grade. And if none of these conditions are satisfied, neither default, and you want to print outside anything, you can provide your grade is this so and so. So you say case A, yes, it is satisfied. The value of grade is C. Therefore, your grade is C. This will be printed. So let us see practically how can you execute this program and what are the differences when you consider a break keyword or not.
In this example, we'll see how does the switch works. So we have created a variable called as a char, and the variable name is grade, and the value of this character is B. Because switch statement works with the primitive data types and it can hold the value for char, int, byte or short. So as char holds a single character, so the value of grade is B. Now to write switch statement, we first write the switch keyword and then in the brackets we write the variable name. We write the variable name to test if this variable satisfy one of the condition. And the conditions here are written in case and then one default. So a statement in the switch block can be labeled with one or more cases or default labels. And the switch statement evaluates its expression, that is grade, and then executes the statement. So here each case is nothing but it holds a value. First case holds a value as A, which is of a char type. Second case holds a value B. Third case holds a value of C, and so on you can write, but finally you need to write a default. The first case which holds a value A. So the switch first gets the value as B, is the grade B, then it comes here. No, it is not satisfying, it goes check the next case. So the next case, yes, it is B, it should print the statement or the block of statements under the case, which is system.out.println good. The output should be printed as good. Generally, we provide a break statement after the case so that it does not go execute the rest of the cases and the loop executes there itself, or it terminates there itself. For example, here we did not provide the break statement. What happens? If no break statement is given, the control moves to the next case. In this case, the control will move to case C and it will print poor. And then if you provide break, the rest default statement will not be printed. It comes outside the loop and execute the rest of the statements. We save and run the file. If you see here in the console, it prints good because the character value of grade is B, therefore it prints B, that is good. And because we have not provided the break statement, the control move to the next case and will print poor. And then the break will help you to terminate or come outside the switch. Outside the switch, whatever the statements are there, it will then execute that, and the statement is to print what grade it is, and that is B, because grade value you have given as B here. What if I provide a switch, a break statement in case B? Let us save and execute this file. Now if you see, it satisfies the condition B and will print good, and break will enable you to come outside the switch block and then execute the rest of the statements.
We have already learned about ternary operator, but how these ternary operator are related with our if-else statements, let us see that. By now you know that in ternary operator we use three expressions, expression 1, question mark, expression 2 and 3. In our earlier case, which is nothing but a conditional operator, if this condition is true, the value will be this. If the condition is false, the value would be this. But in this case, it is quite opposite, which is used in case of if-else. So you can use this conditional ternary operator, you may in place of if-else statement. So let us see how it works. You have provided expression 1, question mark, expression 2, colon and expression 3. So here it says that if the expression 1 is true, then execute this block of statement. If the condition is false, then execute this block of statement. So these conditional operators are nothing but which is useful in place of if-else statement. However, the earlier one we used had a separate value and this has a separate meaning. So let us use where we have to use exactly. Nothing but a ternary operator or a conditional operator helps you to identify the value of a variable depending on certain conditions.